know.
What do you think of that whole Saudi Arabia thing?
Well, you know, it's I don't really have a problem with it from the standpoint of there's some guys it fits.
For years, Jack Nicklaus said nothing, but that silence just ended with a revelation no one saw coming. His words have reignited golf's biggest controversy and reshaped his legacy forever. What finally pushed him to speak? Well, stick around because today, I'll reveal what his confession means for the future of the game. Silent stance. Back in July 2022, Nicklaus was at the hallowed turf of St. Andrews, surrounded by echoes of his own grand legacy, and asked about LIV Golf and its architect Greg Norman.
Can I ask what you make of that situation? Is it sad?
I don't know much about it, to be very honest with you.
Well, the RNA did not invite him to the past champion dinner or past...
I really don't know anything about what they did.
Okay.
I mean, I know that they did that, but I don't know anything more than that.
He offered the classic face of a gentleman answer, later claiming he didn't know much about LIV Golf and referring to Norman as an icon. He sidestepped commentary on the league's split with the PGA Tour, a reticence that initially seemed respectful but gradually revealed itself as something more strategic. What's key? Publicly, he didn't condemn LIV or endorse it. He delivered a middle-tone line. If the new league grows the game and spreads the game, then maybe it's fine. Privately, though, his silence belied calculation. According to later court filings, Nicklaus was approached by executives tied to LIV offers. He refused. By laying low, he kept his options, his legacy, intact. But silence is never neutral. In players' lounges and boardrooms, his restraint began to draw attention. Norman publicly called him a hypocrite for not taking a position. The implication, if you don't speak, you're already part of the game. That low-profile posture now seems less passive and more positional. He was watching. And while the public saw a golfing icon politely avoiding controversy, behind the scenes a storm was gathering. The fact that he was later offered massive sums to endorse or join a rival league suggests that his no comment was already a comment, a refusal to play by the new money-first rules of the sport. Golden offer. Here's where the quiet narrative bursts open. Between 2021 and 2022, court documents reveal that Nicklaus sat in meetings with Saudi-linked golf entities, meetings intended for golf course design, yes, but which also served as recruitment fronts for LIV-style roles. According to his later testimony, an offer numbered in the tens of millions, and rumors of a $750 million package, was floated for him to become the face, or even a team owner, within LIV Golf. He says he rejected it outright.
He makes about LIV Golf. If you think about Jack Nicklaus and Gary Player, the comments that they would make would be far more loose and open and probably true to their spirit. They have nothing to gain at this point in life as to whether or not they affiliate with the PGA Tour or LIV Golf or worry about harming someone's opinion of them. Their legacy has been built.
It's not just the size of the offer, though that is staggering. It's the optics. In golfing lore, Nicklaus built his legacy over decades in the PGA Tour tradition, dominating majors, shaping the game. To suddenly contemplate aligning with a breakaway, Saudi-funded league? That would have rewritten his story. He made clear that for him, placing a price tag on his brand was no option. And when suppressed rumors began saying he had considered the offer, and that perhaps he was mentally compromised, he bristled. The rumors weren't idle gossip. They were attacks on his reputation. In the filings, he alleged that his former company and its insiders manufactured and amplified those false narratives. Jack is old, he's done, he'll sell out, was essentially the message. The connection with the alleged golden offer gave the slur legs. What if the legend was tempted? What if he would take the money? Nicklaus refused to let that revisionist script stick. When a legend's brand is built on integrity, a maybe is worse than a yes. So while the world only saw polite deflection, behind closed doors, the plot was far richer, darker, and infinitely more dramatic. Before we go any further, hit that like button, because what's coming next isn't just rumor, it's reputation warfare. And Jack's about to swing back rumor fire. By 2023, the whispers had turned into wildfire. Every golf podcast, sports blog, and armchair analyst suddenly knew that Jack Nicklaus had flirted with a $750 million LIV deal. A number no one could verify, but everyone could repeat. The number became its own headline, its own myth, and like all myths, it began to warp the truth. Nicklaus watched as the internet started rewriting his story, from golf's moral compass to another legend seduced by Saudi money.
Does he have a hidden agenda in talking about LIV Golf and or the PGA Tour? What does he have to gain from positioning himself or affiliating himself with one tour versus the other?
To make things worse, internal emails leaked from his former company suggested he was losing touch and needed guidance. The insinuation? Dementia, weakness, a fall from grace. That's when the Golden Bear finally roared. He filed suit in Florida against Nicklaus companies, accusing them of defamation, not for money, but for dignity. He claimed that executives weaponized those rumors, suggesting he'd either sold out to LIV or wasn't mentally capable of running his own empire. Both were lies, he insisted, designed to seize control of his brand and business assets. "It's not about golf," he reportedly told close friends. "It's about my name." In depositions, attorneys dredged up his past meetings, his measured comments, even his gentle praise for LIV's supposed global reach. They twisted nuance into betrayal. But as trial prep unfolded, the real question loomed larger. Who gets to define Jack Nicklaus's legacy? Jack, or the people cashing in on his silence? In a cruel twist, the narrative that once made him golf's quiet elder statesman had been inverted into an image of frailty and compromise. He was being painted as the man who couldn't even defend himself. That framing ignited a reputation war, and for once, Nicklaus decided to fight back, loudly, publicly, and in court. Private meetings. Flashback to early 2021, long before lawyers entered the scene. In a glittering conference room somewhere in the Middle East, Jack Nicklaus sat with representatives of a Saudi-funded golf development group. Officially, it was a meeting about design, the bread and butter of Nicklaus's post-playing career. However, according to documents later filed in court, the conversation took an unexpected turn when the representatives asked whether he would ever consider being part of their new league. The offer came dressed in prestige, an ambassador role, a Golden Bear branded team, perhaps even a trophy bearing his name. Rumors placed the total package north of $100 million. Nicklaus, ever the diplomat, reportedly smiled and declined, stating that he was loyal to the tour and had always been. But loyalty, as it turned out, came at a cost. Behind the scenes, his company executives saw both opportunity and division. Some were eager to explore ties with LIV, others feared the PR fallout. What began as a routine meeting soon fractured his inner circle. Within months, whispers of the secret offer reached U.S. business partners, igniting boardroom paranoia over whether the 18-time major champion was considering a sellout, and that paranoia didn't fade. By 2022, the notion that Nicklaus was considering LIV had taken on a life of its own. Insiders claim that's when the internal campaign began. Doubts about his memory, questions about his fitness to make business decisions, and subtle pushes to wrest creative control from him. He wasn't just a golf legend anymore. He was a brand asset under siege. In hindsight, that 2021 meeting wasn't just a footnote. It was the inciting incident of a full-blown legacy war. The offer he didn't take became the story he couldn't escape. The polite no metastasized into a headline. Jack Nicklaus, tempted by LIV. And when he finally fought back years later, every witness, email, and whisper from that one conversation came roaring back into the light. Courtroom vindication. October 2025. The Palm Beach County Courthouse became the unlikeliest stage for golf's most dramatic comeback. Inside, beneath buzzing fluorescent lights and camera flashes, Jack Nicklaus, 85 years old, stoic, measured, unshaken, finally had the floor. For nearly 3 years, he had let others talk. Lawyers, executives, even Greg Norman. But this time, the Golden Bear spoke for himself. The accusations were severe, that he'd been negotiating a $750 million deal with LIV Golf, and that his cognitive health had declined so drastically he was unfit to run his own affairs. It wasn't just business slander, it was a public gutting of his legacy. Witness after witness took the stand. But the turning point came when Nicklaus's attorney played a video of his 2022 St. Andrews press appearance, the same one where he'd sidestepped LIV questions. The jurors saw what millions had seen, a man cautious, not confused. Then came the paper trail. Internal company emails mocking his memory issues, executives joking about saving him from himself, and financial drafts suggesting they could reclaim control of the Nicklaus brand. The courtroom gasped. The tone shifted. The frail legend image cracked like a bad putt.
Big load off of my shoulders, and I did this thing more for my family than for me.
When the verdict finally came, $50 million in damages, Nicklaus barely reacted. Outside, as microphones swarmed, he offered a brief statement saying he had done it for his family and that it wasn't about him. Those 9 words landed harder than any trophy speech. In that moment, the lawsuit shifted from a battle over defamation to a story of resurrection. The court had formally declared what the sport already knew. His silence had never been weakness. It had been patience. The win did more than clear his name. It reset the narrative of loyalty in modern golf. Nicklaus hadn't been seduced by LIV Golf. He'd been slandered for refusing it. The man who once played the long game on the fairway had just done the same in court, proving that legacy, not money, is the ultimate scorecard. Game shift. With the courtroom dust settling and the verdict echoing through the country clubs of Florida, the question now is, what does all of this mean for golf itself? The LIV PGA Tour divide has already reshaped the sport, but Jack Nicklaus's victory has redrawn its moral boundaries. His decision to reject LIV's advances wasn't merely personal, it was symbolic. In an age where athletes chase checks over championships, the Golden Bear's defiance stands as a rare gesture of principle. For the PGA Tour establishment, Nicklaus's stance offers validation. Behind closed doors, executives reportedly circulated his comments in 2023. Loyalty matters, money fades. During tense negotiations with Saudi-backed groups, his verdict reinforced that position. For LIV Golf, the optics are tougher. The sport's most iconic name legally discredited claims tied to its orbit. Even Greg Norman, who once branded him a hypocrite, has gone conspicuously silent since the ruling. Nicklaus, meanwhile, is already rebuilding. Thanks to the April 2025 NIL ruling affirming his right to his own name and image, he's free to launch new ventures, design firms, charitable foundations, perhaps even media projects, under his own banner. Sources close to his camp say he plans to focus on legacy courses and educational initiatives, not commercial sponsorships. It's poetic, really. The man accused of selling out now returns to build, not for money, but for memory. In the broader landscape, his win sets a precedent. It shows that even in the era of billion-dollar leagues and clickbait scandal, there's power in saying no. Golf's future may be global, franchised, and algorithm-driven, but its past, and perhaps its conscience, still answers to the Golden Bear. Nicklaus didn't just protect his legacy, he reframed it. He turned silence into strategy, insult into inspiration, and courtroom drama into one final thunderous drive down the fairway of history. So there it is. The legend who refused the money, faced the smear, and came out roaring. Jack didn't just win a lawsuit, he reclaimed his legacy. If that hit you harder than a Sunday major, subscribe and drop a comment. Was this golf's most iconic comeback off the course?